Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, we talk about all things homesteading, homemaking, and just our journey to a slower, more simple life. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about realistic 5 a.m. or just morning routines. As somebody who actually wakes up between 5 and 5:30 every single day, I know a little bit about having that kind of routine, but as somebody who also is on social media, I see the unrealistic expectations that are kind of being put out there in some content. And I do just want to have a little bit of a talk and a little bit of a discussion about how to take something that is inherently good, like getting your life together and having a schedule in order and finding things that work for you, and getting that out of where there can be kind of pressure and unrealistic expectations. So first, let's talk a little bit about my personal morning routine and what it took to get there and why it works so well for me. I can definitely say that if I can have a early morning routine, anybody in the world can, because I used to be somebody that struggled really hard with sleep in general. I'd say I almost had kind of a phobia of sleeping when I was growing up. Never been diagnosed with anything, but I just wouldn't go to sleep. I would be kind of scared of going to sleep. And so that would end up me staying up literally all night and having to actually pass out from pure exhaustion, which would usually be 6 or 7 in the morning. And mind you, this is when I was in public school and going through elementary, middle school, so it's crazy how I even got through it. But I have gone from somebody who could not get to sleep at all to somebody who gets plenty of sleep and is able to wake up bright and early every single day. Now, this means I have to have a few things in place for myself, a few rules. A good morning routine is always based off of a good night routine, I say. So I always make sure every single night that everything is put away, the kitchen is put to bed. I have my list done for what I need to do the next day, and I am always in bed by 9 o'clock, 9:30, sometimes a little bit if I'm running a little behind, but always in bed by that time. And that is probably really early for a lot of people, but I just know myself, and I know that I don't want to feel the pressure of needing to get to sleep. So if I get into bed at 9 o'clock, I don't have the pressure of needing to fall asleep right away in order to be able to have enough rest to wake up early. So that is a big thing for me. Also, something I need to do is I always put my phone on the other side of the room when I am going into bed. I do not ever take my phone to bed anymore. And even when I used to put it on kind of the shelf next to the bed and would tell myself not to look at it, when I would wake up in the morning from the alarm, I would honestly turn the alarm off pretty much in my sleep. So it's all the way on the other side of the room. So these are just a few things that I have to do in order to maintain this routine. And for me, it works perfectly because I love having that kind of routine and structure in my life. And I'm also able to have that kind of structure at the point I'm in life. I also love this routine because I personally really love mornings. Dawn is actually my favorite time of day. So getting to see dawn and not be as up in the night is important to me. So there's lots of factors that kind of go into having a nice morning routine, and I think it can work really, really well for most people. But I think kind of the expectation put out in some centers of the internet is that we need to wake up really, really early to be happy or to be structured in our life. And there's almost this pressure that like the earlier you wake up, the better you're doing somehow. I've been seeing 4 a.m. routines and stuff popping up. And I'm sure lots of these people are doing it genuinely and are really enjoying that, and that is great. I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing that. But I also know that unfortunately there has been kind of people coming out and showing that a lot of these people setting these expectations aren't even really necessarily doing these things. For example, saying they woke up at like 4 in the morning to start making breakfast and things like that, but then showing on their oven what time it actually is. And I definitely like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and they probably did that at that time and are just filming kind of a reenaction of it later. But it just kind of goes into the topic that I kind of talked about, I believe, in last week's video of social media and how it can be deceitful and how we really need to be careful what we're watching and really think about ourselves. So let's get into why you may be somebody who would really benefit from an early morning routine. If you're somebody like me who loves the morning, obviously I highly recommend it. It is so beautiful and nothing like it to see the sunrise every single morning, especially as we're coming into warmer seasons and I can actually go outside to enjoy it really outside in the warm air. It's beautiful from in the house too in the winter, but the days are just getting longer and so the sun is coming up sooner, and it never gets old every single morning. Secondly, it can be really good for people that have a lot of things going on later in the day and want to have some of that quiet time to yourself. That is definitely me. I like to be up and start getting things done before anybody else is up. I think one of my biggest pieces of advice with the topic to have it really work for you and not just be kind of thinking you need to do it is really make a why list, because maybe you know that you'd really like to get up early so that you can get more done, but also dive into what are the things that you feel like you're kind of missing out on from day to day. Maybe it's you really wish you had more time to read that novel, or maybe it's you really wish you had time to do some knitting. Thinking of those things ahead of time first can be very helpful, because I know with me sometimes I would get up early and then not necessarily feel like there was anything I needed or wanted to do yet, and that could make it a little bit difficult to stick to that routine. So thinking of the whys ahead of time and knowing the night before, when I get up early, I am going to go right into reading that book or right into knitting, doing those things that I want to do. To establish that good habit, it really takes 30 to 60 days, I think. And so you want to make sure you really have a reason to get yourself up, or you're just not going to do it. I've also heard people say before that even the trick of putting the phone across the room hasn't worked for them because they turn it off and then just go right back into bed. Having something you want to do right firm on your mind will definitely help you to push through that initial first waking up, because especially when you're first starting, it is hard. You do want to go right back to bed. And there's definitely days that I wake up and feel really sluggish, but I push through it and it's part of the routine and I wake right up. So really, it can be super beneficial for a lot of people, but don't compare your life to other people's lives. For example, you may see my life and think, oh, she has so much time to do a lot of things. And truthfully, I do have more time than a lot of people because I don't have any children and I don't have really anything like that going on. Well, I may have some things going on that you don't have going on, but see, you can't compare lives like that. You really just have to think about what would really be beneficial to you. So I really just want you to keep that in mind whenever you may be watching people go about their lives and their lifestyle and their different routines. I think it's great and I like to watch things like that too, but just keep in mind that we're all different people, and be very wary of people that say you have to do something just like this necessarily in order to get your life together. Make sure to always practice discernment with these different things. But I'm gonna go on to the rest of my day now. I got my chai latte in hand, but it is absolutely a gorgeous day. I would be out there filming, but people are blowing leaves and making all kinds of loud sounds, so I brought you in here. But I'm gonna go get working on the garden, so I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.